A deadly shooting in Toronto's West End happened steps from a police station, and homicide detectives are calling it very brazen. We're live at that scene tonight.
And Peel police bust two violent crime groups allegedly linked to home invasions and jewelry store robberies. We have the latest on Project Night Train.
Plus, tackling tariffs and a trade war. Prime Minister Mark Carney joins premiers in Huntsville and tells them he will only sign a deal with Donald Trump if it's in the best interest of Canadians.
And legendary rock star turned reality star Ozzy Osbourne has died at the age of 76, 3 weeks after hitting the stage in his final live performance. We're going to take a look at the tribute.
You're watching Live at 5.
Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Lena Latafat. Thanks so much for joining us, and welcome to Live at 5. Homicide detectives are investigating a brazen, deadly shooting that happened just down the street from a police station in Toronto's West End.
And for the very latest on the investigation, let's go live to CP24's Beatrice Vaisman in DuPont and Dundas. Beatrice.
Bakari, Lena, you're right. It happened about 300 meters from 11 Division. And to make this story even more heartbreaking than it already is, because there's a life lost, a man in his 30s being killed here, I'm learning from people here at the scene, neighbors and family members, that he was the father of a young son. And I'm also learning that his mother previously lost a younger son to gun violence back in 2013. So now this family touched twice by gun violence. I want to show you some flowers that family members have put here at the scene as a show of respect. I spoke to a woman who's a distant relative of this man in his 30s who lost his life. Neighborhood are absolutely heartbroken and shaken by what has happened, and now these flowers and a candle just steps away from where this man was gunned down around 5 o'clock this morning. Here's what we heard from this woman.
He's a very humble young fella. That's all I know. I've interacted with him several times. He's also the uncle of my two youngest grandchildren. I know his mother very well. He's humble. He's hardworking. I just got in this morning and heard the news, and it's not a good feeling. It's not good.
I spoke to a woman who called 911 this morning, Bakari and Lena. She described hearing multiple gunshots. She phoned 911, came outside, and found this man lying lifeless on the ground. Police, of course, along with first responders, arriving here very quickly, especially because of the proximity to the police station. And unfortunately, despite their best efforts, they could not save his life. I'm told that this man in his 30s was here visiting some family members. A brother and sister live in the townhouse complex, just some 10, 20 feet from where he was shot and killed. He was walking back to his vehicle to leave at that point, and that's when he was shot. His vehicle, a silver Infiniti SUV, towed from the scene earlier this afternoon by police as well. Investigators have not revealed any information about a motive, whether there was an altercation or confrontation in the minutes before this gunfire erupted, and they've not said any description of the suspect or suspects they're looking for, but police do say it is brazen. Here's more from the duty inspector.
It's fairly brazen. As we're standing here at 11 Division, we can possibly see the crime scene not too far from here. And again, it's just an indication of the brazenness of some of these things that are occurring as far as violence goes. Yes, it is very brazen. It was very close to the police station.
And we're showing you a live look now as well of a bullet hole in a window. This is a home directly across the street from where this man's body was found. A bullet piercing the first pane of glass on the first floor window. A second bullet hitting the gas meter as well at the foot of the home. The people that I spoke to inside describing 5 to 10 gunshots. That's what they heard. They were woken up to the sounds of it, and then shortly thereafter saw first responders arriving here at the scene. So police now appealing for anyone who might have any information to come forward. If you know anything, if you saw something, if you heard something, give police a call. The homicide squad obviously now taking carriage of this investigation as we await to learn more about the identity of the victim. Bakari and Lena.
And as we heard from that detective, you can see the crime scene from the police station. So brazen indeed. Beatrice, thanks so much for this. Well, Peel police say they've dismantled 2 interconnected criminal networks linked to 17 violent home invasions and jewelry store robberies right across the GTA.
Okay, this is called Project Night Train. And for more, let's go live to CP24's Andrew Brennan. Andrew.
Good afternoon to you both. And looking at some of the details that Peel Police are sharing, one, there were moments where people that not only could have lost belongings that were expensive indeed, but they also could have lost their lives. Incidents where someone during a home invasion, as they are having their items taken, an expensive, for instance, Mercedes G-Wagon, being shot as they are trying to either comply with the assailants coming into their home, or in some cases, according to police, as they do not recommend to, fighting back in some cases. There were incidents where people were run over. Incidents, again, where someone was shot in the chest with life-altering injuries. One other piece of interest here is how a lot of the alleged young offenders were being solicited by organized crime. We heard from the Deputy Chief of Peel Region, and here's just look at how they're trying to get the next generation into crime.
They're connected by what they see as an opportunity to profit. And, you know, they're looking for vulnerability in our community, looking for an opportunity to profit. And then, you know, much like a lot of private enterprise, they diversify. So it's not always exclusively one crime that you see these networks engaged in. Oftentimes it's drug trafficking, home invasions, car thefts. That is the new reality of the crime we're seeing. It's opportunity, profit, and they're willing to take advantage of our community in order to do those things and do it very violently.
Here are some of the mugshots of those arrested. 12 in all arrested, one other person being sought. But actually, one of the suspects has the exact same name and the same face as someone who got caught up in another of these organized crime investigations last week. We're confirming with Peel Regional Police if it's in fact the same suspect. But this man is still on the run. They are looking for 32-year-old Ali Mahdi of Toronto at this time. Peel Regional Police also saying that of the roughly $2 million in stolen goods, luxury vehicles, luxury handbags, and the like, about half has been returned to their owners, but the scars will remain. Back to you both.
CP24's Andrew Brennan. Andrew, thank you. Well, a deadly mass shooting on the Danforth. It happened this day 7 years ago.
Yeah, 18-year-old Reese Fallon and 10-year-old Juliana Kozis were killed in the shooting, and 13 others were wounded as the gunman opened fire along the popular street lined with cafes and restaurants. Our crews were one of the first to arrive, and it was a lively night on the Danforth in Greektown. The suspect, the accused, later turning the gun on himself. It was among Toronto's worst ever mass shootings and led to calls for stronger gun control measures and a public health approach to gun violence.
Well, Toronto police posted on social media, quote, "Today marks the 7th anniversary of the Danforth shooting. We remember the lives lost, those injured, and everyone whose life was impacted by the senseless violence that day."
From the Toronto Police Association, today we remember the lives lost and forever changed on July 22nd, 2018, during the Danforth shooting, a tragic night that claimed the young lives of Reese Fallon and Juliana Kozis, left many others injured, and left a lasting impact on our city. We honor the victims, stand with the survivors, and recognize the courage of the first responders who ran toward danger.
Well, police have released video of a suspect wanted in a sexual assault investigation downtown.
Yeah, they're trying to identify the man seen in the security footage. On June 10th, police say a victim was out with friends at an establishment near King and Portland. She was followed by the suspect into a bathroom where she was sexually assaulted. Anybody who recognizes the person in this video is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers.
And police say that the 9-year-old Montreal girl whose body was found in New York State over the weekend died from asphyxia due to drowning.
Her father, 45-year-old Luciano Fritolin, is charged with second-degree murder and concealing a body. Police say he claimed his 9-year-old daughter, Melina, was abducted near the New York-Vermont border on Saturday. The girl's body was found Sunday from a pond northeast of where she was reported abducted. Fritolin is due back in court on Friday. Police say the motive for the girl's murder is under investigation.
Well, 2 people were injured in a crash that snarled traffic on the 401 in Scarborough this morning.
Chopper 24 over that scene in the westbound express lanes of the 401 just past Nielsen Road. It happened around 8:30 and involved a car, an SUV, and a tractor trailer. OPP say 2 people were taken to hospital. with minor injuries. Well, a man has been charged with impaired operation after a boat crash in Whitby Harbor.
Yeah, police said that the boat crashed into the rocks shortly before 9:30 last night, sending 3 people into the water, including a 7-year-old. So all 3 were helped ashore by off-duty firefighters who were on a boat in the area. The boat was eventually towed into the marina. The 36-year-old driver was arrested.
A man has been arrested in a dog attack near Chinatown.
We're talking about 38-year-old Christian Reheto Sorto, who's facing 7 charges, including criminal negligence causing bodily harm. On July 3rd, police were called for an animal complaint near Huron and Baldwin Streets. They say that the suspect was walking 3 dogs. 2 were off leash. He allegedly got into an argument with someone. The 2 dogs charged and attacked the victim.
It's now 5:10, 23 degrees, feeling more like 25 in the city. Let's get a check on that drive home with our traffic specialist, Adjoa Siayabwa.
Yeah, Lena and Bakari, it has not been the easiest drive, and we're dealing with some really big issues impacting the commute on the 401 westbound. This is in the collector lanes. As you approach Avenue Road, you'll find the 3 left lanes blocked. This is with a serious collision involving a couple of vehicles and a dump truck. So at least emergency crews are on scene. You got a few lanes getting by in the collectors, but because it's rush hour, it's adding to the slow drive. Busy going from well before Kennedy all the way over towards that situation. And then if you're headed towards the 427, this is the northbound 427 through the 409. Collision involving a transport. Heavy tow is on scene, but you will still find that center lane occupied. Slowdowns remain on the Gardner as you navigate into and out of the downtown core. Just a slow afternoon outside of camera view. Problems happening on the northbound 400 up at Major Mac. It is a collision that does have the right lane blocked, and problems happening out through Durham on the 401. This is the westbound 401 at Curtis. It's the 2 left lanes that are blocked with the crash as well. I'll send it back to you both.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
It's 5:11, 23 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Prime Minister Mark Carney met with the country's premiers in Muskoka today to discuss the state of trade negotiations with the U.S. We'll tell you how that meeting went next.
But the growing trade war with the U.S., it was the focus today as Canada's premiers met with Prime Minister Mark Carney in Huntsville.
Yeah, Carney shared more about the federal government's plan to respond to Donald Trump's August 1st deadline to get a trade deal done. Trump threatened to impose 35% tariffs on Canadian goods, setting a new deadline for trade talks that were supposed to have wrapped up by now. Carney said last week a deal will likely include some tariffs and that he expects talks to intensify ahead of the deadline. And the Prime Minister had an update on the talks this afternoon.
This is a united group of First Ministers, a group focused on building our country, building positively, building here at home, building one Canadian economy, but also building nation-building projects from coast to coast to coast, and developing new trade relations around the world. We did have a good discussion around these ongoing negotiations with the United States, but really a large part of our exchanges concentrated on what we can do, what we can control, and how we.
And Premier Doug Ford commented on the trade conversations had with Prime Minister Mark Carney. This was during today's meeting in Huntsville, but he offered a few details of what was actually said.
I don't want to jeopardize his negotiations by divulging everything. But again, if I can say this, Donald Trump is very, very hard to deal with, just because it's so fluid. It's constantly moving with him. But we have a strong plan moving forward, and let's see what happens on August the 1st. I have all the confidence in the world in the Prime Minister and all the premiers working together, and that's where we're at right now.
CTV News political commentator Scott Reed spoke about what stood out to him from Carney's comments on the trade negotiations with the U.S.
No question, what jumped out at me is how much this discussion seemed to be dominated by Plan B, insofar as it was less about where are we at in terms of a trade deal. The Prime Minister saying, look, we're going to try to get the best possible deal, but not making any promises about August 1st, not making any specific promises or specific updates with respect to where those talks were at. Instead, the focus was almost entirely Plan B. Find trade relations with other countries, right? Make certain that we are strong here at home, eliminate internal trade barriers, try to build east-west, build up our infrastructure, insulate ourselves from the precariousness and from the unpredictability of Donald Trump.
And ahead of the meeting with the Prime Minister today, Premier Doug Ford, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, and Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe, they signed a memorandum of understanding in Huntsville. They say it's going to help move Western oil and gas to refineries in southern Ontario and connect critical minerals in the Ring of Fire to new ports in Western Canada. So Premier Ford says this network is going to be built with steel made in Ontario and Saskatchewan, and all of it is going to be done in partnership with Indigenous communities.
Well, Mayor Olivia Chow paid a visit to an apartment complex in East York today that a tenant advocacy group describes as one of the city's most notorious buildings.
Yeah, Chow toured 500 Dawes Road, meeting with residents, getting a look at some of the conditions that they're dealing with. Acorn says that the building has been the site of more than 85 property standards violations since 2014. Crumbling balconies, leaks, poor ceiling fixes. Those are among the problems flagged by the organization. The mayor says that the city is working to support the tenants.
The most important is for me to see what kind of living conditions these folks are living in, because everyone has a right to safe, clean housing. No, absolutely, because if not, if there's bed bugs, if there's cockroaches, if the elevator doesn't work, if the carpet is so old that it smells, all of those things are just not acceptable.
The condition is so poor. Because the time I came, even that balcony was like that. I usually go there to tell them, they told me, oh, we'll fix it, we'll fix it. Nothing is being fixed. Even if you have a stove it's broken or it's not working, it will take a time. I think on February, my stove was not working. And I go there like 2 times. They come and fix on May.
Acorn says issues at the building are impacting tenants' health and safety.
It's 5:18, 23 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Ozzy Osbourne is being remembered after his family confirmed his death today at age 76, just weeks after performing a farewell show. We're going to have more on this loss next. Welcome back. Rock legend Ozzy Osbourne has died just weeks after his farewell show.
Yeah, Osbourne, who was 76, fronted the pioneering band Black Sabbath before reaching even greater heights with his own solo career.
Osbourne also starred in the MTV reality show The Osbournes, which followed his family and their lives in Los Angeles. In 2019, he announced he developed Parkinson's disease and suffered other health issues, and recently played a farewell show with Black Sabbath. That was about 3 weeks ago.
And the Osbourne family has released a statement which reads in part, quote, "It is with more sadness than mere words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. He was with his family and surrounded by love. We ask everyone to respect our family privacy at this time." And music commentator Eric Alper, he talked to CP24 about Osbourne's life and legacy.
With much music and MTV entering into the video age, we really got to see Ozzy in our homes for the first time for a lot of people. We got to see how amazing he was on stage, how wild and crazy he was. He bit the head off of a bat that was so controversial, it still follows him around. I'm still talking about it all these years ago. And then, of course, you know, with the very public battle that he had with drugs and alcohol, his story coming out that he was abused as a child, speaking out against these issues that really no rock stars were talking about.
Osbourne was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, once with Black Sabbath in 2006, and then again as a solo artist in 2024. What a legend.
Yeah. It's 5:22, 23 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Well, the Blue Jays will be looking for their 12th straight home win tonight after setting a franchise record last night with their 4-1 victory against the Yankees. They are on a roll. We're going to check in once again with our Melissa Duggan right after this.
Well, the Red Hot Blue Jays, they're going to be looking for their 12th straight win. This is going to be at home tonight when they continue their series with the New York Yankees.
And with that, let's go live to CP24's Melissa Duggan, who's outside Rogers Center talking to fans. So they did it yesterday. Can they do it again tonight, Melissa?
the longest ever winning streak at home. The Jays did it last night. They sealed the deal with that 4-1 win over the Yankees. We're just waiting for these gates to open right now for these fans to get in and watch tonight's game. Can they make it 12 in a row? A nice dozen. That's got a good ring to it, doesn't it? Let's talk to some Jays fans. How are you feeling about the team this year?
Good.
Yeah, they're doing pretty well. I wonder what's standing out to you.
Oh, they're great all-around play.
And I mean, compared to previous seasons, what's it like to cheer for them this year?
There's lots of hope this year, I would say. Yeah.
They are quite the role right now. I wonder what your impression is of this year's team.
They're going to win the whole thing.
The whole thing. What's got you so confident?
You know what? They got a great lineup. Finally, they're spending some money on some good players.
Yeah, and it's incredible that you never know who's going to have that stellar play, right?
Exactly. Barger, #1.
He's been having a great season. Okay, let's keep walking down the line. Tell me, what are you liking about this team so far this year?
Just the chemistry and the way we're playing together, and we're putting together wins, and hopefully we get it done.
Is there any particular player that's really standing out to you?
I mean, Addison Barger. He came out of nowhere this season, and he's tearing it up right now.
I know people didn't even know his name a few weeks ago, and here he is, just playing like there's no tomorrow.
100%, yep.
Have you seen a Jays game here at Rogers Centre before?
Yeah, multiple. Probably 4 this season, yeah.
What do you think about the buzz here right now?
It's impressive. It's giving 2015 vibes, so hopefully.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Okay, you're here for the Jays game too.
Absolutely.
What's your impression? Give me your kind of like sports reporter breakdown.
So it makes me feel like a kid again, back in the 80s when you used to walk into the X or the first days of the Dome. It's small ball. It feels like a team that actually cares about each other, and it makes us feel like Canadians that way. We're all backing each other too. So they're Canada's team. Got to come and support them.
And you're seeing the team cheer on, the other players too. It just gives you a sense of that positive ball that's being played.
Absolutely. It feels like each of them is picking each other up. And I mean, that's inspiring for us. We're all trying to pick each other up too in the face of tariffs. And here we have a team that loves Canada and clearly loves playing for us too.
Telling a story for us tonight. I wonder what you think about this year's team.
I'm just here to have lots of fun. This is my second game in my life, and I'm just excited.
The game tonight could be another stellar one. We could be seeing that record bounce up to 12 straight wins at home. Of course, this is the second game of the series against the Yankees. Game number 3 goes down tomorrow. On the mound tonight, getting the opener, it is Max Scherzer. Back to you.
Okay, CP24's Melissa Duggan. Thanks a lot. With that, it's 5:28, 23 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Peel police say they've dismantled 2 interconnected criminal networks linked to 17 violent home invasions and jewelry store robberies right across the GTA. We're going to tell you more about Project Night Train.
A deadly shooting in Toronto's West End, steps from a police station. Homicide detectives, they're calling it very brazen. We're live at the scene.
And Peel police bust 2 violent crime groups allegedly linked to home invasions and jewelry store robberies. We'll tell you more about Project Night Train.
Plus, tackling tariffs and a trade war. Prime Minister Mark Carney joins premiers in Huntsville and tells them he'll only sign a deal with Donald Trump if it's in the best interest of Canadians.
And legendary rocker turned reality star Ozzy Osbourne has died at the age of 76, just 3 weeks after hitting the stage in his final live performance. We'll tell you what his family is saying.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us, and welcome to Live at 5. I'm Lena Latafat.
I'm Bakari Savage. So, Peel police say that they've dismantled 2 interconnected criminal networks linked to 17 violent home invasions and jewelry store robberies all across the GTA.
Let's bring in CP24's Andrew Brennan for a closer look at Project Night Train. Andrew.
Yeah, Lena Bakari, what we've learned is this was not just something that was in Peel Region's jurisdiction. Peel Regional Police saying that with all of this, these home invasions that were so violent and other forms of crime, that there was very few areas of the GTA that were spared. And several young people under the age of 18 arrested as part of this investigation. Now, you can see from some of the home video that was shared with police as they were conducting this investigation, going back almost a year ago to October. There were moments where people that were trying to comply with the home invaders at their door and now inside it. being shot in the chest, others being run over by the vehicle that was being stolen from them. And a lot of the young people, according to police, looking on your screen, you do see some 29, 30-year-olds, but you also see quite a few names 20 and under, several we cannot name because they are allegedly young offenders that would be a part of the Youth Criminal Justice Act and cannot be named. But not only did we hear from Peel Regional Police today, but also from the mayor of Brampton about how these young people allegedly, in this case, are being enticed into a life of crime very early.
What I wanted to add was particularly disappointing and troublesome about these incidents is another example of the predatory nature on young people. I say never underestimate how sophisticated organized crime is. And if they feel a young person will be treated differently, and if there are loopholes in our justice system, they will take full advantage of it. They will drive a luxury stolen car through those loopholes with determination.
This is the one lone alleged offender, according to police, that's still being sought. They are looking still for 32-year-old Ali Mahdi of Toronto. But this ultimately leading, according to police, to about $2 million in luxury goods being stolen from people across the GTA. About half, according to police, thus far has been returned in terms of monetary value. Back to you both.
Okay, CP24's Andrew Brennan. Andrew, thank you. Homicide detectives, they're investigating a brazen, deadly shooting. This happened literally just down the street from a police station in Toronto's West End.
For the very latest on this investigation, let's go live to CP24's Beatrice Faisman near DuPont and Dundas. Beatrice.
Lena Bakari, we've been talking to people who live on this street, people who knew this man in his 30s who lost his life to gun violence this morning. I'm told he's a father to a young son, his child now obviously grieving the death of his dad. And I'm told actually as well that the victim's brother was gunned down back in 2013 in Regent Park. And so now this mother losing her second child to gun violence. We're showing you what the scene looked like earlier this afternoon as police came here. They canvassed the area. Forensic investigators laid down evidence markers and trying to piece together this investigation to figure out exactly what actually happened. We were watching officers on bikes also going around the neighborhood, talking to people, canvassing, looking for information and looking for security surveillance camera footage as well. I spoke to a woman who lives, just really steps from where this man's body was found this morning. She said she heard several gunshots. She called 911. She came outside and saw the man lying on the ground. He was unresponsive. Police arriving here within minutes. 11 Division, quite literally 300 meters north of the scene. You can see it from here. Officers arriving, and despite their best efforts, they could not save this man's life. Police have not said what precipitated it, if there was a confrontation, but investigators saying that the theory that they're working under at this point is that it was very likely a targeted shooting. So you see where the evidence markers were laid down. That's right where the victim's vehicle was as well. I'm told he was visiting family members, his brother and sister, living in a townhouse unit here on Osler Street. He was walking back to his car when he was shot dead. Here's what I heard from a few witnesses and neighbors here on the street.
It just sounded like bang, 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 right? And at first, I was like, okay, this is not any holidays. It's no way it's a firework or anything. But I didn't think it was that close. I was hoping it was something else. But when I came out this morning and saw the police and stuff, I was just like, oh crap! It was gunshots.
I saw the guy on the ground. He said, wow, what happened? So he died. Somebody shot into him. And the next, I listened to the lady crying, yelling. Oh my gosh! Oh no way! Because for me it's very scary because I have my family, I have my 2 kids. Oh for me it's terrible shock.
And we're showing you live images now of some flowers and a candle laid down here by a distant relative of the victim, some neighbors as well who came by, almost the exact spot where this man was gunned down to pay their respects. Obviously very shaken by what has happened. A woman who I spoke to named Divine saying that she knew the victim, saying he was a humble man, always had really nice interactions and called him a doting father. And so again, the father of a young boy losing his life here in the shooting. Police not revealing the victim's identity just just yet, but they're appealing. If you heard something, if you saw something, if you have any information about a getaway vehicle, give police a call. Back to you.
Thinking about the victim's mother losing 2 children to gun violence. That is devastating. Beatrice, thanks so much for this. Well, a deadly mass shooting on the Danforth happened on this day 7 years ago. It is a grim anniversary.
18-year-old Reese Fallon and 10-year-old Juliana Kozis. They were killed in the shooting. 13 others were wounded as the gunman opened fire along the popular street lined with cafes and restaurants. He later turned the gun on himself. It was among Toronto's worst ever mass shootings, and it led to calls for stronger gun control measures and a public health approach to gun violence.
And those families will never be the same. Toronto police tweeted, today marks the 7th anniversary of the Danforth shooting. We remember the lives lost, those injured, and everyone whose life was impacted by that senseless violence.
And from the Toronto Police Association, quote, today, we remember the lives lost and forever changed July 22nd, 2018, during the Danforth shooting, a tragic night that claimed the young lives of Reese Fallon and Juliana Kozis, left many others injured, and left a lasting impact on our city. We honor the victims, stand with the survivors, and recognize the courage of the first responders who ran towards danger.
It is now 5:38, 23 degrees out there. Let's get a check on that drive home with our traffic specialist, Adjoa and Siayabwa. How goes it, Adj?
Oh, it continues to be a very, very busy drive. A couple of my cameras are out. I'm just going to see if I can get some of them to work. If you are making your way out on the northbound 427, this camera's working. So northbound 427, just on the ramp that takes you to the 409, it's a brand new collision that does have the right lane occupied. If your travels take you to the Don Valley Parkway, it's still busy as you make your way from just before Bayview blow up to the 401. Gardner jammed as you make your way out of the downtown core. Eastbound starting to look a little bit better, and I'll have to talk about the problems that my cameras have gone out. But we have issues on the 401 westbound. This is just on the approach to Avenue Road in the collectors. 3 left lanes are blocked. Also outside of camera view on the southbound 400, just as you make your way through Highway 89. We're dealing with a vehicle fire. A couple of lanes are out, so if you're making your way through, it's creating quite the visual delay, but at least fire and emergency crews are on scene. I'll send it back to you both.
Okay, thanks a lot, Adj.
You're welcome.
Well, the portion of a bridge on St. Clair Avenue east of Yonge Street, it's still closed today after an encampment fire underneath.
Yeah, that bridge has reopened to eastbound traffic, but still remains closed to westbound traffic. The city has been inspecting the structural integrity of the bridge. This is after an encampment fire underneath it on Sunday night.
It's 5:39, 23 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Prime Minister Mark Carney met with the country's premiers in Muskoka today to discuss the state of trade negotiations with the U.S., and he says he'll only sign something if it's in the best interest of Canadians. We'll tell you more.
Well, the growing trade war with the U.S. was the focus today as Canada's premiers met with Prime Minister Mark Carney in Huntsville.
Carney shared more about the federal government's plan to respond to U.S. President Donald Trump's August 1st deadline to get a trade deal done. Trump threatened to impose 35% tariffs on Canadian goods, setting a new deadline for trade talks that were supposed to have wrapped up by now. Carney said last week a deal will likely include some tariffs and that he expects talks to intensify ahead of the deadline. He also was asked whether he thinks a deal is possible by the deadline.
That depends. I mean, there's 2 sides to a deal. We will obviously we're working on behalf of Canadians, and we will agree a deal if there's one on the table that is in the best interest of Canadians, just as the United States will do in the look for the best interests of the U.S. There have been a series of discussions. Senior ministers have been in Washington. They'll be returning. Mr. LeBlanc, for example, will be in Washington for the balance of the week, as will be my chief of staff, other officials for those discussions. But, you know, they're complex negotiations, and we'll use all the time that's necessary.
Well, Premier Doug Ford says that he thinks reaching a trade deal with the U.S. is realistic, but also casts some doubt because of the unpredictability of President Donald Trump.
You talk to him one day, and all of a sudden the next day he's on some media outlet saying there's 35% tariff. So he's unpredictable, but we have to focus on what's going to strengthen our country. That's onshoring as much as we can, and I keep using the I-beams and aluminum cans, but there's dozens and dozens of other areas, and make no mistake about it, Donald Trump does need Canada. He needs the oil, he needs the potash, he needs the uranium, he needs the high-grade nickel, he needs the aluminum from Quebec, just to name a few. So we look forward to using our strength in negotiating.
And CTV News political commentator Scott Reed talked about what stood out to him from Carney's comments on the trade negotiations with the U.S.
I really read this very much as a Plan B emphasis. While those negotiations are ongoing, the Prime Minister is saying, look, maître chez nous, let's make certain that we are ready here at home in our own backyard.
And ahead of the meeting with the Prime Minister today, Premier Doug Ford, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, and Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe, they signed a memorandum of understanding in Huntsville. So they say this is going to help move Western oil and gas refineries in southern Ontario and connect critical minerals in the Ring of Fire to new ports in Western Canada. And Premier Ford says that this network is going to be built with steel made in Ontario and Saskatchewan, and all of it. This is all going to be done in partnership with Indigenous communities.
It is now 5:45, 23 degrees in the city, and you're watching Live at 5.
And K-pop group Blackpink is in Toronto to perform at Rogers Stadium tonight and tomorrow. We're going to check in with CTV's John Mulsman. That's next. One of the hottest K-pop acts is going to be performing in Toronto tonight.
And CTV Toronto's John Musselman joins us live from Rogers Stadium with more on Blackpink. It's going to be another busy night. Is the stadium ready, John?
Sure is. We're on the north side of Downsview Stadium. The fans are filing in right now. This is a sold-out show. More than 50,000 people will be here for this South Korean girl band. That's just huge, and they sell out across the world. They're well known here, and people are very excited about getting in. But here's a couple of things to keep in mind. Both GO Transit and the TTC are expanding service for people coming here and for leaving. As you're well aware, there was some issues when Coldplay was here, people getting out of the stadium. They've added some extra trains on the subway and as well as on the GO train. Now, earlier today, there was a pop-up store at Yorkdale, not far from here, huge crowds there as well. And it was all related to this band, and we had a chance to talk to some people. Here's what they said.
We're going to the concert tonight. We came all the way from Regina, Saskatchewan.
And we want to get some merch for the concert. We lined up since 9 a.m. here today, and we just got in at like 2 p.m.
So the show starts at about 8 o'clock tonight. We can tell you so far it's fairly routine. People arriving, no real problems to report. So everyone's here to have a good time. We'll send it back to you.
Okay, CTV's John Musselman, thanks a lot. Well, the Red Hot Blue Jays, get that? They're going to be looking for their 12th straight win at home tonight. This is when they continue their series with the New York Yankees.
Yeah, let's go live to CP24's Melissa Duggan, who's outside Rogers Center talking to fans. It is a really exciting time to be a Jays fan, Melissa.
You know, it really is. You know, this time last night I was talking to you, Alina and Bakari, about the chances of the Jays making some history, and they did it with that 4-1 win over the Yankees last night. They have their longest winning streak at home ever, and they could even make it better tonight with 12 wins in a row. Sure, we could ask for that. Why not? We got some Jays fans with us right now. This is going to be your first game you're seeing here tonight.
Yes, my dear, that's the first time we come.
And how are you feeling about it all?
Exciting.
Yeah. You're visiting here from Quebec, is that right?
Yep.
Okay. And tell me what you think about the Jays team this year. Are you getting into it, the fever?
I don't see any game.
Okay, so this year fresh. Well, let me tell you, you picked a great time to come see the Jays, and you are longtime Jays fans, I imagine.
Yes, we are.
Okay, what do you think about this team so far this year?
I think this team, they could hit it. Like, let's go for the even dozen tonight. You know what I mean?
Definitely. You could be seeing more history here tonight. What's standing out to you about this team this year?
I think they're pretty cohesive. Like, they're working with each other as opposed to, not that you should be me, but they're watching their teammates, they're playing together, they're working together, they're improving together, and that'll get them pretty far.
And you're nodding your head, you're seeing that too?
Yeah, they're completely gelling as a group of guys. They're hitting it together, and it's one team. It's one, all for one and one for all.
We're hearing from Bo Bichette that he's never been on a team like this, that he's really kind of feeling that energy right now.
Yeah, he was saying earlier today, or yesterday, I guess, in an interview that this is what he dreamed of when he was a kid. So I can't imagine what it's like for him living this dream.
And you're cheering them on tonight.
Absolutely. I was here when this place opened. Yeah, I was here backstage when the Sky Dome opened originally, and then now we're here, and I was here for the last World Series. I'm hoping for another one this year.
Your experience in all of this.
Yeah.
So with those that kind of like Jays history that you know so well, how does this team right now kind of stack up to those winning teams we saw before?
Oh, they're in the hunt. They're right there. they are right there. They have all the potential to make this happen this year.
Thanks so much. Enjoy the game tonight. You picked a great one to see again. Now, we know those Jays are doing so well. They are leading the AL East 4 games ahead of those Yankees. They can grow that gap even more tonight. Back to you.
Okay, it looks like, Melissa, you need to bring a broom because this could be another sweep. Oh, yeah, I did that. Yeah, cheesy, I know, but it's okay.
Love it.
All right, CP24 is Melissa Duggan. Thanks a lot. Okay, it's 5:52, 23 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Ozzy Osbourne is being remembered after his family confirmed his death today at age 76, just weeks after performing a farewell show. We're going to take a look back at the legendary musician's career.
Rock legend Ozzy Osbourne has died just weeks after his farewell show.
Osbourne, who was 76, fronted the pioneering band Black Sabbath before reaching even greater heights with his own solo career. And for more on the death of Ozzy Osbourne and his legendary legacy, we're joined live tonight by Jamar McNeil from Chum 104.5. Jamar, thanks so much for joining us. I mean, he was known as the godfather of metal. It does not get more iconic than Ozzy Osbourne. Can you talk about the loss?
You know what, to say the least, it is the end of an era. Ozzy Osbourne ushered in and is largely credited for the metal era. You know, he embraced the whole Prince of Darkness persona, which led to the goth aesthetic and movement, which still reigns true today. People are calling themselves goth kids, and they might not even understand where they got that aesthetic from. Ozzy Osbourne rose to fame in '68, and in the '70s, that's when the band Black Sabbath really gained its popularity. And then Ozzy Osbourne, of course, had a solo career that was very, very popular. But, you know, when I look at Ozzy Osbourne, I think of the fact that, you know, even for people who might not have been in the rock genre, maybe in other genres like pop and hip hop, they know Ozzy Osbourne from songs that were sampled of his that ended up in other songs. Those songs from Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne ended up in video games like Madden and, you know, Skate or Die, like all these games. You hear these songs all over the zeitgeist of pop culture.
Hey, Jamar, what can you tell us about the farewell tour? Because, like, he just finished that, you know?
Yeah, the farewell tour, you know, this was probably one of the most storied moments for Ozzy Osbourne in his career. You know, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2019 and then eventually announced that there would be a farewell tour. That was just a couple weeks ago. And he brought some of his favorite bands on stage with him, Metallica, Guns N' Roses. It was a huge event, a historic event for the rock genre. And, you know, weeks later, we learn of his passing. So, you know, in my opinion, you know, you can't think of a more beautiful bow to put on a career in the life of a celebrity who, might I also add, wasn't just a musician, but he was a reality star.
Yeah.
The Osbournes, the television show was a trail-making show. All of these people who are reality families and people doing, you know, showing their lives on YouTube, it started with that show, which got 4 big seasons and made not only Ozzy, but Sharon and the kids so popular and household names across the world.
And I think what many of us who watch the show remember is that Ozzy Osbourne and his family, they were just themselves. They were raw, they were authentic, they were unapologetic, and that is who he was.
You have made the understatement of the day. They were more than they were selves. They were like off the chain.
Yeah.
You know, they were the original, like, did they just say that? Yeah. Family. And that kind of really ushered in a new era in social media and in media in general, where people were like, hey, you know, maybe I could be a little off the cuff. Maybe I can use a couple 4-letter words and, you know, beep it out in post or whatever. And, you know, now we are where we are. But, you know, they were, like you said, themselves.
And in the last few seconds, Jamar, with that glimpse of Ozzy Osbourne, it gave us a softer side of the Prince of Darkness. How do you want to wrap this up?
You know, beautifully said, Bakari. It shows that everybody is multifaceted and on stage persona, but Ozzy Osbourne was a wonderful father, a very caring man, and he was loved by his children and his family and by fans all around the world. A huge legacy and a big hole in the heart of music, and he will be missed.
Yeah, and there's just no one like him. Jamar McNeil, thanks so much for joining us. We so appreciate this. It's now 5:59, 23 degrees. You're watching Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
And the Jays are going to be looking for their 12th straight home win tonight after setting a franchise record last night with their 4-1 victory against the Yankees. Thank you for watching. CTV News at 6 is next.